Turakaa no Boken, Trucker's Adventure by Henry Michael Brown, Coqui-san. Chapter 2, Reincarnation. Date unknown. Kenichi stared into Emma's lavender eyes. They were focused but hardened with energy, as if she had a life-changing experience no one could understand. Despite her injured arm in the sling, she had him pinned down on the bed with the jagged military knife on his neck. He kept as still as possible, resisting to form a fist. The knife pressed further into the skin, barely cutting the surface. Great! Another assassin!
Shut up!
Emma's eyes trembled.
Who sent you? The Paladin Corps?
Who? The sound of a click from behind caught Emma's attention. Colt aimed his revolver handgun at her back. He had one hand on the trigger, the other hand underneath the gun. His eyes peered through the sight. Without looking back, she spoke.
I only have to slit the artery.
I only have to pull the trigger. Colt shifted his body to the right to make sure Kenichi was not in his sight. Drop the knife. Kenichi spoke. You're making me feel uncomfortable sitting on top of me.
What are you talking about?
Riné let out an awkward smile.
Well, you are sitting on him.
Emma's face blushed. She sat up and gave Kenichi an opening to throw a punch. His fist flew at her, only to be blocked by her injured arm. Her teeth clenched, resisting the pain. Colt took a step forward just as she placed the knife back onto Kenichi's neck. Kenichi raised his hand up at Colt to hold back. Riné spoke.
Please, Emma. There's no need for this. We can talk. No! Someone learned.
A headache struck her. She resisted the pain from her injured head.
My husband? Emma, let me check on you,
Riné said.
You injured your head when you fell down the slope and...
Emma shook her head in refusal.
I'm okay. You're an imposter sent to capture me. Nobody knows you're here.
Riné walked towards Emma, reaching into her pocket.
This is a side street. I'm not stupid. I know my husband is 40 years old on Earth. The age limit to teleport from there is 20.
Emma struggled to fight the headache pressing on her.
There's no way this imposter is him.
Emma kept track of Colt stepping to the side, unaware of Riné approaching her from behind. She felt the bandage on her head shift to the side and remembered her injury.
How do I remember this? I can't recognize his face, his name. Why? Why do I know you're my husband? Your age? Why am I feeling this? Emma,
Riné said.
I'm sure there's an explanation for this. Please, let me check your injury again. Don't you understand, Doctor?
Emma forced Kenichi back down on the bed, but he held his head up in resistance.
Someone must have found out who I really am and dressed this guy up to look like my husband.
Looking at Kenichi's face, Colt realized what Emma was saying. Are you a reincarnation? Emma lowered her head a little, with tears building up. She nodded. Kenichi said, There's no such thing as reincarnation. My wife died 18 years ago. She's crazy. Emma leaned into his face.
Don't call me crazy. I know who I am.
Who are you? Kenichi noticed Riné standing behind Emma, holding the sewing needle when she answered.
I am Emma Rosado, but on Earth, my real name is Fumiko Yamamura.
What? No, it can't be.
Someone must have leaked information about me, and you're using it to capture me like you captured my senpai.
Senpai? Kenichi was shocked at the Japanese word she said. Are you... Riné interrupted.
Bedtime.
With a sewing needle, the doctor poked Emma on the back of her neck. Emma's body lurched back from the prick of the needle. The sting spread throughout her entire body, causing her to look up at the ceiling. Every muscle froze in place, her mouth opened to scream, but her voice never projected out. The fingers opened, releasing the knife in her hand. It fell onto the floor, and Colt picked it up while keeping his gun aimed at her. Emma fought to move, but her mind relaxed to the point of falling asleep. She felt the needle removed from her neck, and she collapsed forward. Kenichi planted the palm of his hand onto her face and pushed her back. He stumbled off the bed, revealing his ring. At first sight of the ring, Emma heard a ping in her memories as she closed her eyes. Her mind started to clear up thanks to the needle. She remembered feeling her hand slid down Kenichi's fingers before closing her eyes when darkness fell upon her final breath.
I remembered I felt cold that day.
Emma's last image as Fumiko was a pair of hands from a woman reaching out to her. Fumiko was pulled into the warm light.
Is this when I
Emma opened her eyes. She found herself in the arms of a woman with lavender eyes. Her face was mixed race, as was a man smiling beside the woman. He had hazel eyes. The woman had dark brown hair, while the man had jet black hair. The woman spoke in Spanish.
Hello, Emma. It's us, your mother and father.
The man also spoke in Spanish. Look, Yolanda, she has your eyes.
She's my first lavender-eyed child, Armando. I'm so happy.
Now, we'll never have a complete set with the children.
Hey!
Yolanda and Armando giggled at each other with smiles, and darkness enveloped them. There were a pair of shadows with red eyes speaking to the body.
It's your fault, Fumiko,
the female shadow said.
No.
Fumiko's thoughts were in Emma's voice.
No, I can't go through this again.
The male shadow spoke. You will be punished. The baby cried and Yolanda smiled.
It seems Emma's already hungry.
I'll get the curtain, Armando said.
She's going to be a happy little girl.
Yolanda smiled at Emma while the calendar on the wall read 6th month, 12th day, 3192 EM. 6th month, 12th day, 3202. Emma walked through the school hallway with her bag in hand. Like her, the students and teachers either had jet black hair or light to dark brown hair. Most girls' hairstyles were in buns, and most boys' hairstyles were cut down to the stubble. The rest had expressive hairstyles like Emma's long ponytail. The school uniforms were a military design. In her age group, the girls wore gray skirts with blouses. The boys wore gray slacks with button dress shirts and ties. Despite the military appearances of the children, they all had smiles. Emma sat at her desk in the center back, removing the contents out of her bag. The window was 3 desks away, where the birds flew by outside. The clouds passed by under a bright summer sky. The lamps in the chandelier above illuminated a bright light with teal metallic orbs. She turned her attention to her notepad and began to draw. It was a pair of shadows with a human arm reaching out of one of them. It was as if the shadows were on the floor pleading mercy to a blank-faced man with a white shirt and blue pants. The blank-faced man had his fist raised up. She drew blood over it. Her memories thought of a blood-covered fist. She recalled herself as Fumiko watching the blank-faced man approaching the shadows. No sound, but she could sense the terror from the shadows as the blank-faced man approached them. The blank-faced man had a soft aura around him. She felt safe despite struggling to remember his face. What Emma witnessed was a set of rings worn on his fist, connected together with blood dripping off it. So Emma drew more of that over the fist when her teacher entered the room. The teacher was a young woman, dressed in a dark blue-colored military uniform. She had a metal right leg. The pin attached to her collar read Marines, which sat alongside her rank pins, which meant that she was a sergeant, specialist first-class educator. Despite her formal appearance, giving off a strict presence and professional demeanor, she had a kind, welcoming expression towards her class. A classmate in the front row stood up.
Stand!
Her classmate said in Spanish, and the class stood to their feet.
Bow! Good morning, Miss Alvarez,
they all said in Spanish. Emma bowed with her classmates and stared at the drawing, trying to remember his name. She knew it, but it was so far away, like she was reaching out to the stars in the sky. After she sat down, she crumpled the drawing into a ball and threw it into her bag. Miss Alvarez spoke.
Good morning, class. Today will be the first day of Borinquen history. Please take out your textbooks and open to the first chapter of page 6.
Emma opened her book. The first page had an image of a fleet sailing in the ocean with the cross of St. Andrew on them. The title of the first chapter read Earth and Home Islands. The text was written in Spanish grammar using Japanese, hiragana, and katakana characters. Characters that had the Spanish accent symbols, the diéresis, the tilde, and the acute accent, were placed on the top right alongside the traditional hiragana and katakana symbols dakuten and handakuten. Even though Emma became fluent in Spanish, she struggled reading the text in Spanish due to her Japanese fluency. She thought,
I can't afford to lose my past. All this new information is making me forget myself, and I want to learn.
Miss Alvarez wrote on the chalkboard, Earth Year 1493. All the children whispered to each other.
Earth Year?
The girl said.
Are we going to learn about Earth World?
Another boy asked.
My mother said we came from there. Okay, class,
Miss Alvarez said, quieting the students.
Please raise your hand if your family has told you about our ancestors here on Teora.
The entire class did.
Now, how about our ancestors from Earth?
10 raised their hands. Emma was among them.
I see. It's okay. I'll walk you through this lesson and you will understand where we came from.
A girl in the front row raised her hand.
Excuse me, Miss Alvarez. Yes, Miss Kobayashi. What is Earth? Is it the Earth world everyone talks about? Yes.
She nodded.
It's really just called Earth. There's no need for the world part. That is what the people here on Teora called it.
The children were awed by this reveal, and Miss Alvarez continued.
Earth is a planet just like Teora. While astronomers don't know where Earth is in the galaxy, what we do know is that our ancestors, the Boricqueños and the Japanese, came from there. Please read the first paragraph out loud, Miss Kobayashi.
Miss Kobayashi stood up with the book in hand, and she read,
Earth is a planet where our human ancestors, the Taino and Japanese, came from. The Taino were the first to arrive here, while on Earth they were enslaved by an Earth kingdom called Spain. The Spanish Empire, as it was called, arrived on our ancestral island, Borinquen, in the year 1493, 1 year after they discovered the Caribbean islands, bringing peace first. However, peace was short-lived as the Spaniards and their conquistadors spent the next 10 years bringing disease and slavery to our ancestors. They renamed our island Puerto Rico, which is Spanish for rich port. This chapter will cover the early colonial years prior to the day of arrival, as remembered and written down by our ancestors that were here on Teora. Thank you,
Miss Alvarez said, and Miss Kobayashi sat down. The teacher then walked in front of her desk to add what was read.
In the Earth year 1507, the majority of the Taino population was killed due to the diseases brought over by the Spanish Empire. Thousands of Taino children were placed on 15 ships. We don't know why yet. Included on the ships were our Taino cultural items like the hammock, yucca, livestock, tobacco, and sugarcane, as well as gold and silver.
Miss Alvarez crossed her arms and leaned on her desk.
Along with thousands of Spaniard citizens returning to Spain from Puerto Rico, the fleet set sail into a body of water called the Atlantic Ocean, where they met our god Huracan. It was then that he rescued all the Taino children by bringing them here on Teora to protect them from the horrors of the Spanish Empire. Upon our arrival here, the Spaniards made first contact with the country of Miron. It did not take long for them to conquer Miron's Iberian Peninsula and renamed it New Spain. From there, they made plans to expand across the continent of Estina.
A male student raised his hand.
What happened to the Spaniards? A majority of the Spaniards died due to Teoran diseases that they had no immunity to. Our ancestors were fortunate because the Teoran natives called the Veneta tribe, who were also enslaved, gave us the medicine needed to survive. Over time, our earth diseases killed the entire Veneta tribe. They went extinct. With the Spaniard population reduced, we Taino became a majority population.
Miss Alvarez walked behind the desk.
Our ancestors thought freedom was assured. However, the Mironese and the monarchy wanted what they lost returned. That was replacing the Veneta tribe, their slaves. So not only did we not gain our freedom, but the surviving Spaniards became enslaved as well. Reading and writing was forbidden, which means our original texts were destroyed forever. We don't know what our writing system or the Spaniards looked like. We all had to tend to agriculture on the peninsula or work in the minelands under what was known back then as the Isthmus of Telenira. It was the worst era of our history. That was until the monarchy teleported.
The children lowered their heads. The aura of collective sadness filled the room. The new information was not what they expected. Miss Alvarez panicked.
We're getting a little ahead of the chapter. First, let's learn about Earth and our ancestral home. Please turn to the next page.
After school ended, Emma waved goodbye to her classmates and made her way to the entrance gate. There, 2 teenage girls and a young boy waited. They all had dark brown hair and green eyes. The girls were identical twins. The one with pigtails wore a Navy-style school uniform. The other girl had hair stretched down her back with a blue bow attached. Her school uniform, along with the teenage boy, were black military uniforms. With school bags in hand, they all greeted Emma with a smile as soon as she approached them.
Monica,
Emma said to the pigtail-haired girl and turned to the other.
Marisol?
Marisol spoke.
Hello, Amicita. You had a good day at school? Yes.
Noriko stepped in front.
Hey, you want to see a new spell I learned at class today? A new one?
Emma smiled as Noriko nodded and raised her hand up. Emma stepped back. Vapor gathered at the palm of Noriko's hand and shouted,
Agua!
The vapor flashed, turning into a ball of water. Emma touched the surface and waves rippled.
Amazing!
Noriko flicked the ball onto the nearby bed of plants, watering them.
Are you ready for your birthday party? I don't know.
The boy spoke.
You're planning to run away from Mom and Dad again?
Noriko towered over him.
Daisuke! What?
He said with his hands raised up as a shield. It's the truth. Marisol took Emma's hand and walked away.
Ignore him. He's just being a brat.
Noriko slapped Daisuke on the back of his head.
Behave.
Fine. Daisuke rubbed his hair, keeping a short distance, when Marisol looked back at him as they arrived on the road with a horse and carriage passing by.
I'll let Mom and Dad know what you said to her.
Come on, Daisuke said. I was just joking. Noriko whispered into his ear.
It's not funny. You know Mom and Dad are upset when she doesn't smile at them. They're going to get her to do that today.
I know. It's been 10 years. Marisol pulled Emma closer to her with arms around her shoulders in a hug.
You're going to have fun with all your friends. Your aunts, uncles, and cousins will be there. Even Big Brother Antonio with Eiko and the baby all the way from Kaie. You'll see you have nothing to be afraid of. Except Mom and Dad. No.
Marisol caressed Emma's hair.
They love you and have always been watching over you.
Daisuke spoke. They're so scary. Why aren't you scared of us?
I don't know.
Emma replied as Noriko kept her eyes on their brother. Everyone climbed up the hill as more students ran by laughing from across the road. Another horse-drawn carriage passed by on the right side of the road, heading in the opposite direction. A familiar sound caught Emma's attention. It was the sound of a motor. She took one step ahead of everyone and spotted what passed by the carriage. It was a motorcycle, reaching the top of the hill. She ran for it.
Emmasita, wait!
Marisol said. Emma made it to the top as the driver entered the store, leaving the vehicle parked by the wooden post. She approached it, staring at the handlebars. The cushioned seat was made of leather, and underneath was the engine with a kickstand. The console had a speedometer numbered in the metric system. The side mirrors caught her attention. Her reflection was hypnotic. With a deep breath, she turned her attention to the handlebar and reached for it. Marisol grabbed her hand.
Don't touch!
Daisuke spoke. It's just a motorcycle, Emma. Nothing to get excited about. Noriko leaned close with a smile.
You're interested in motorcycles, aren't you, Emma? Emma?
Emma did not hear Noriko, for she remembered Fumiko in her memories. She rode a motorcycle towards a building, where larger vehicles she could not identify as trucks attached themselves to big trailers with wheels. After parking the motorcycle, she approached a blue truck with keys in hand. Upon opening the door, a gray truck stopped by. Inside was a faceless man that made her smile. Emma realized it was him in her drawings. Blinking twice, she stepped back and bumped into Daisuke. Turning to everyone, Emma did not realize she had her hand over her heart. Marisol reached out to her.
Are you okay? Excuse me.
Emma walked away, and they followed her. Moments later, with her siblings not too far behind, Emma arrived at a dirt road that passed through a fenced entrance. Ahead of her was a 2-story house. It was made of wood and had a chimney. There was a garden with dark velvet tulips. Its petals were the shape of a crown. Green bees crawled inside, poking at the pollen. There was a hill nearby with a tree taller than the house. It had a treehouse built on its branches with a swing and ladder attached. A shed was at the bottom of that hill, where a small patch of crops grew nearby. The wooden fence that outlined the home's boundaries stretched far. Beyond that fence were other homes with dirt roads, and were all parallel with a distant river that entered a nearby forest. The clock on the wall read 4. Emma sat on the carpeted floor next to the couch, drawing while still dressed in her school uniform. A mantel and the fireplace were just past the living room table. A small chandelier hung above. She pushed aside a couple of crumpled paper balls to make room for her sketchbook. The afternoon sun shined through the windows with the wind brushing the curtains. The picture was of the faceless man, holding a small child in his left arm while holding the hand of another child standing next to him. They were also faceless. Memories of them felt like a dream, but she knew it was real. She sworn these were memories she always had. Underneath each character, she wrote their labels.
A friend? Child 1? Child 2?
Emma leaned back on the couch, stretching her legs outward. A faint image of a large steering wheel appeared before her. She could not name it, but she knew she had to grab it. Reaching out to it with her right hand, it felt real. Her left hand reached down and grabbed a stick with a ball top. The right foot pressed down on the pedal. At that moment, her left hand moved the stick to the next gear. The wind breezed through the window again and brushed her hair. Her memories created an image of her driving a truck with the window opened. The road ahead of her led to a city where a snow-capped mountain could be seen behind the metropolis, and a tall red tower surrounded by very tall buildings. To her left, alongside the road, was a white train, passing by faster than her. She awed as it headed towards the city, where more vehicles entered and exited underneath the clear blue sky.
Where am I? Emma!
Yolanda called from another room. Emma snapped out of her daydream. She closed her sketchbook and gathered her belongings as her mother's footsteps drew near. Emma opened the lid of a wastebasket where all the paper balls went. Upon closing the lid, she placed her hand on a teal metallic knob on top.
Vaporizer!
The knob briefly glowed. Emma lifted the lid up, and the paper balls were gone. Yolanda entered the living room just as Emma turned around.
There you are, Emma. It's getting a little dark in this room.
Yolanda placed her hand on a tilt metal disc on the wall. She placed her hand on it.
Loops!
The metal disc glowed, and the chandelier turned on. Yolanda then smiled at Emma as the child pressed her back to the wall.
It's time to celebrate your birthday.
Emma stared at the shadow that enveloped Yolanda. The eyes were lavender at first, and she heard a gentle, kind female voice from it. It sounded so distant, as if it wanted Emma to come to her, to save her. However, the shadow turned the eyes red with anger, and claws reached out to her. You ungrateful child. Emma ran to the stairs and climbed as fast as she could. She bumped into Marisol and Nautical at the top, both wearing casual blouses and dresses. Marisol spoke.
What's the matter?
Her sisters did not appear as shadows, but when she looked back at Yolanda, the shadow glared at her as if it was demanding her to come down. Emma slid between her sisters and hid behind them. With both hands, she clutched their blouses, pulling them together like sliding doors.
Girls,
Yolanda said,
could you help Emma get ready? She was supposed to have been out of that uniform a long time ago. Yes,
they said. Emma wrapped her arms around Marisol, and Nautical patted her little sister's hair.
Come on, Emma. Mother and Father are happy to celebrate your birthday today.
Nautical took Emma's hand.
Let's get your clothes together. You'll look pretty for Mom and Dad. They'll be happy.
Downstairs, Yolanda walked through the hallway to the entrance of the kitchen. She leaned on the side of the wall, staring at the cake on the kitchen table that read, Happy Birthday, Emma, in Japanese katakana with Spanish grammar. There was a door in the kitchen to the back of the house. Armando entered, carrying a camera with a tripod attached. He placed it at the corner with a smile and slid under the cover to make adjustments. Yolanda was in frame. Smile for the camera. Armando realized she did not, and he slid out from under the cover. What's wrong?
Emma.
She ran away again?
Yes.
Yolanda sat down on the chair by the table.
She's too old for this.
I know. Armando approached her and placed his hands on her shoulders.
I wish she would hug me.
Yolanda lowered her head as Armando's arms wrapped around her shoulders. He leaned close to her.
I can't raise her through photos.
It's those drawings, he said. I still can't figure out what they mean.
They get stranger every time I see them. Like that one object with all those wheels attached. She said it's used to deliver stuff to stores. It looked like a metal monster.
Armando smiled. I like the box one that has a window to other worlds. She says it shows entertainment.
Entertainment? Like a play?
Yeah. Armando chuckled. She has quite an imagination. Has she been writing stories?
I don't know. When I go into her room to wash her clothes, there's nothing in there. It's so clean and organized. Compared to the other children, it's like I am in an adult's room. I don't know if she has anything of interest.
Well, at least she's not getting into trouble.
I fear she is in trouble.
Yolanda clutched Amando's hand.
You made the arrangements?
Yes. The appointment is for next week. She will begin her first steps toward her faith in Koreana.
Confirmation.
Yolanda shed a tear.
Please don't let it be true.
If she really is a reincarnation, she will be a blessed...
I don't care. I'm scared that my little girl is someone completely different. Someone else's soul other than my child's. I want Emma, not some stranger.
She may be showing symptoms of reincarnation. Now you know our faith calls us to bring happiness to the helpless soul, denied the life they were given. Amanda pressed his hand on Yolanda's belly. The life the soul gave our child after what happened to both of you during pregnancy.
I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Amanda gave pause. He nodded. Today is Emma's 10th birthday. We got to make her smile for us. The pictures of her smile from a distance are beautiful.
When will I see her smile with my own eyes?
As soon as we find out the truth of what happened to her. We waited this long for her confirmation. Our prayers will be answered. We will understand Emma. They kissed as Emma, in her new dress, watched the shadows from outside the kitchen. We are raising an idiot. She is such a problem. I'll deal with her. Emma's memories placed pressure onto her fears. It was something about her 10th birthday that made her uneasy. She could not recall. But her heartbeat told her it was too much. Bumping into her sisters, they greeted her with smiles that confused her to this day.
Why are they smiling?
She thought.
Why are they not shadows?
Marisol spoke.
God, show Mother your pretty dress.
Noriko held her hand to lead her.
She's going to love it and give you lots of hugs.
Marisol and Noriko led her into the kitchen. She got closer to Yolanda and Armando. The shadows grew taller, while Emma grew smaller next to them. The cake on the table in between her parents flashed a blurred image of that moment in her memories. It was incomprehensible, but her heart sunk. Instinct kicked in. She fought to hide behind her sisters for protection, but they kept pushing her towards their parents. Her eyes shrunk. Emma let out a shriek that forced everyone to cover their ears. She broke free and ran away. Daisuke hurried down the stairs and got pushed aside by her running up the stairs. He lost his footing and fell down. Noriko checked on Daisuke while Marisol ran up after Emma. Yolanda covered her face in tears and Armando hugged her.
Emma!
Yolanda and Armando sat on their own chairs before a desk. The clock above ticked towards 12 like the snap of a finger. The painting on the wall contained a pair of female hands guiding souls towards their world, Teora. The souls depicted as droplets of water. Bookshelves lined up along the wall with its text on religion and theology. The doctor, dressed in a business suit, sat behind the desk reading from a file in his hand. Yolanda closed her eyes and tears fell down. She held Armando's hand as he took the file from the doctor and listened. With her test scores at 65%, she meets the minimum threshold of reincarnation. Yolanda spoke.
It's not fair.
Armando flipped through the pages on the file and he read the first question. What is your name on Earthworld? And the name Fumiko Yamamura was answered. This is who she was? Yes, that is who her soul is. Armando flipped through the files and read the assessment. Abuse. Did something happen to her in her previous life? The doctor nodded. Yes. She experienced childhood trauma. From her answers, she is going through emotional distress when she sees the two of you. It would appear that whoever her previous parents were in Earthworld, they abused her into this state. It is possible that her going through childhood again brought out that trauma, which is why she was able to retain some of these memories. Armando spoke. So, she would not have remembered her previous life if she had not been abused. That's not how it works. Emma would have forgotten these memories while she grew up with you over time. Her brain had to retain new memories and new information from our world, as well as relearning motor functions like walking and sitting. So all the new information she received here should have pushed all of her previous life's memories into the memory dump. It's where she would have forgotten about everything she lived through on Earthworld. At best, she probably would have retained little things, such as, Idiosyncrasies, habits. You would have dismissed it as something gained growing up and not from her old life. She would not have been aware of it at all. It would be just another natural progression of her growth, her childhood. Yolanda wiped away her tears.
We're not like them.
Amanda turned to Yolanda. I know, but from Emma's point of view, we are.
I'm not evil. I love my children with all my heart.
Yolanda wiped more tears away as she held on to her composure.
I would never hurt them. I will never hurt Emma.
You are a great mother. You have done everything you could for Emma. She has to find a way to overcome this, and we need her to know we are on her side.
I feel cheated. Why my Emma? Why not someone else's child?
This is a blessing for all of us, for you and me. Emma was blessed by Coriana.
Don't make this a religious matter.
Yolanda. Amanda leaned back, and she realized what she said.
I'm sorry. I should not speak ill of Coriana. I'm sure she has her reasons.
There is one more thing, the doctor said. After talking with Emma, she said these shadows each have green eyes and lavender eyes before they turn red. She could hear faint calls to her while in that state. She thinks they are in pain.
What does that mean?
I don't know. We may need to schedule an appointment to solve that. Armando sighed and turned to the doctor. Could you give us a moment? Of course. The doctor got up out of his seat. I will get Emma for you. Thank you. Armando faced Yolanda as the doctor closed the door. Remember when you were 6 months pregnant with Emma and you had complications?
The pediatrician said I was losing the baby. No.
Yes. Armando grabbed her hands. Coriana blessed us with his soul to save Emma's life, so we can have her.
I can't believe that.
Yolanda stood up and turned away from Armando.
I can't believe this was a miracle. It's too much. That's too much.
It makes sense. He approached Yolanda and wrapped his arms around her waist. That scare we had. We were supposed to lose Emma in a miscarriage, but I believe. Armando turned Yolanda around with the painting behind him. Deeply staring at the goddess's hands guiding the souls, she remembered Emma in her hands as a baby, hearing her cries. Watching Emma from a distance, smiling at her siblings, yearning for that smile would be directed at her. Clarity filled her mind. That maybe this soul did save Emma's life. But as the doctor said, the soul's trauma prevented Emma from forgetting that previous life on Earth. It prevented her from enjoying a new happy life with them, to feel their love.
How do we take this pain away from her and make her smile at us?
The door opened. Emma, Armando said, looking at the open door. Yolanda spotted Emma standing there. They approached their daughter, only for her to raise her hand up to stop them. Emma stared at the shadows before her. At first, the lavender and green eyes glowed in the shadows. It was as if she could hear someone calling out to her. It sounded safe. But their eyes turned back to red and Emma shook. With a deep breath, she spoke.
I hate you.
Yolanda and Armando were about to say something, but Emma continued.
I hate that you hurt me. I hate that you threw bottles at me and made alcohol splash on me. I hate that you blame me for losing your job. I hate that you would not talk to me, only yell. I'm mad that you both burned my arm on my 10th birthday.
Yolanda covered her mouth and tears welled as Emma turned to the shadow covering Armando.
What kind of father are you? How could you act like I never existed? How could you make me feel unsafe when I am near you? The strength you showed me was cowardice.
Emma then turned to the shadow covering Yolanda.
How can I call you mother? You were supposed to be a woman for me to look up to. You were supposed to be my role model. You were someone I needed to come to for the answers that only you knew.
Emma clasped her hands together and pressed them onto her chest.
You never loved me, yet you wouldn't let me leave you. But I'm going to be all right. I found someone who loved me more than himself. He stood by my side. Never yelled at. Never hurt me. Never hate.
Emma envisioned a young Kenichi sitting in his truck with his eyes veiled in a soft shadow, only his smile visible until it became a blank face again.
I still can't see him, but I can feel him. Even now, I can sense good people near me, with love to give, and here you are keeping them away from me like you did Kenichi.
Emma walked past Yolanda and Armando, pushing the chaotic shadows off their bodies.
Kenichi. That's his name. My friend? No, it was more than that. But what is it? Why can't I remember everything?
She looked at the portrait of Koryana.
I rose from the fires you raised me in and drove that motorcycle to my own freedom, my own life, and it was taken from me. Cancer.
Her heart beat, and she took a long breath. Looking down, she turned back to the shadows.
Now, I come into this world with a new start to life, with whatever memories I have left, and the first thing I see is you two. I feel like you wanted revenge because I stood up for myself. My life is one big joke to you. You still hold my heart against my will.
Emma's hands curled into a fist. She lifted her head up with tears splashing off her eyes.
I hate you both. I was going to become a better mother to my children with my husband.
She stood still as she realized who she drew in that picture, but their faces remained blank. Her heart skipped a beat as anger overwhelmed her.
You both got what you wanted when I died. I hate you. I hate you forever in my heart. Hate. A taint I have to live with forever.
She lowered her head.
You what?
Emma turned to Yolanda and Armando. Their faces revealed to her for the first time, and there was sadness in their eyes. Their eyes were so soft, so warm, lavender and green. She had seen them in the shadows. Those voices came from them. The memories of her old parents imprisoned them.
I'm sorry. I couldn't rescue you both from them.
Emma could tell in their expressions that they were reaching out to her, the want of embrace from her. She knew it was not only her that her Earth parents were defeating. It was her new parents, their eyes filled with welcoming love.
I'll show them. I'll grow up, go to school, and fulfill my dreams. I'll have children again, and I'll be a better mom than her, a better parent than them.
Emma faced the shadows one more time.
Burn in hell!
Her voice was like a sonic boom, striking the shadows. They melted into the ground. They screamed for her in damnation as she took short breaths. Emma turned around to face Yolanda and Armando, their faces clear as day. Her memories of them cleared up, freed from their shadowed prison. Their smiles freed from the shadow's grasp after all these years, but now only sadness in their eyes weighed down their happiness for her.
I lost 10 years with you. I'm so sorry. I let them hurt you.
Emma's tears fell, and Yolanda and Armando hurried to her. They pulled her into their arms.
Why are they winning?
Yolanda spoke.
They're not. They lost because I love you.
Armando spoke. We love you. After hearing their 3 words, she heard one more voice said, I love you. It was when she lied in bed, closing her eyes for the last time. Her hand slipped from her fingers. Her wedding ring, tapping Kenichi's wedding band, was the last sound she heard before everything went silent. Opening her eyes, the smiles of 2 loving parents welcomed her for the first time in her new life.
Mama, Papa,
she said aloud. Yolanda smiled through the tears, tightening her grip. Armando spoke. We're here, Emma. You're safe now. Emma hugged them tight and closed her eyes to feel their warmth. 7th month, 14th day, 3210. Emma opened her eyes. Colt sat by the desk with his hand on his revolver gun. She sat up and found herself still in the clinic. The pain in her injured left arm got her attention, and Colt spoke. I'll have the doctor look at your injuries after you answer some questions. Emma checked on the bandage wrapped around her head. Colt aimed the gun at her. No sudden moves. She straightened her posture, crossed her legs, and placed her right hand over her knee.
Are you going to shoot an injured, unarmed woman?
It depends. He pulled the hammer back. Are you going to kill my client? Emma leaned forward.
No, I have questions of my own.
You do. Emma nodded. Colt remembered she called Kenichi her husband, and he wanted that answered right away. He reset the hammer but kept the gun pointed at her. If I'm satisfied, I'll let you see Yamamura.
Okay.
Are you a reincarnation?
Yes.
Emma stood up as Colt lifted his gun at her.
Why does he look like my husband? He should be 40 years old.
I am asking questions first. Your turn will come soon. Colt raised his gun as Emma approached him. Stay where you are. Emma grabbed the gun and shouted,
Estetico!
A surge of electricity surrounded Colt. He struggled to scream as he dropped to his knees, his face planted on the floor, numbed and unable to move. She grabbed her knife, sheathing it, and ran towards the entrance. Passing by the office, Kenichi and Riné were inside. With the door up ahead, she slowed down to hear Kenichi speak. This is a joke. There is no such thing as reincarnation.
Well, there is,
Riné said.
It's called coronationism. It is one of the largest religions in Teora. The faithful are very strong in that belief. If I understand right, don't your people have such a belief? Buddhism?
No, that's rebirth, not reincarnation, although I'm not a Buddhist. Kenichi leaned back in his chair, then his eyes turned to Riné. Wait, there's Buddhism here? Riné nodded. They really did lock me away for 2 months. Kenichi shook his head. Never mind that. The issue here is that she's not my wife. I've been struggling to move on now that my children are adults. I was going to put away. He thought about the black box he held back on Earth and Fumiko's necklace hanging inside the truck. Yeah, one last ride.
You're young again,
she giggled.
I am available.
Kenichi smiled at the joke, then took a deep breath. Truth is, I barely remember her face now. 18 years ago. 18. It was so long ago, and only our children allowed me to hold on to her.
I'm so sorry,
Riné said. Emma remembered how hard it was to remember Kenichi's face. She walked away with her right hand over her chest as she exited the clinic. Walking down the street, tears fell down when she realized how long 18 years was. Now that she saw his face once more, she realized she had given up on remembering him. The image became clear. Arriving at a nearby hill with a bench on top next to a lit lamppost, she sat down gazing at the stars. Amongst those stars were 2 long bands of dust clouds. The one on the left was bright, hazy white. The other was faint.
The stars are beautiful tonight.
To be continued.